ready. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thanks everybody for coming. A couple park board members that aren't going to be able to make it tonight, but we could still have a quorum with 3. So the first meeting of the year is an election of officers. So I will take that, as you'll see on your agenda, first, and then we'll go into it. So election of officers by me, I need to ask for nomination and a vote for chair.
Can we nominate?
John?
I'd like John.
Okay.
My opinion is, I would like to see John continue with it.
Okay. All right.
I would nominate him.
Maureen and Bruce, second? Or Roger? Okay. All right, I will call for a vote on that. All in favor?
I,
Okay, so John will be your chair. Deputy chair, this will be important because you're gonna get to run the meeting tonight. I think were you passed? I think you,
nope, I haven't been
Okay.
an officer here.
I can't remember who was vice.
I think it was Gene the last time, Lodemeyer.
Oh, okay. Well, we get to clear the air, and so one of you 3 could arm wrestle for the deputy chair position.
And you can't remember that he nominated me for it.
I did?
Did the last time.
What's that?
The last time we went through this, somebody nominated me for vice chair.
Okay. Brad, is the vocal okay, or should, because you can take your mask off if you feel comfortable with your. Yeah, or get closer to the mic if your mask is on. Okay,
We're separated in here and there's not a big crowd.
right, so. So I'm looking for a motion for deputy chair. I can't do it.
I nominate Wayne.
Okay. Bruce, you want a second?
I'll second that.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. And
It's
Janice
fair.
said she
That's
would do
fair.
secretary. Janice said she'd take secretary again, so just I need a motion in a second.
I would move to have Janice the secretary again.
Okay.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Carries. All right, at this moment, I will turn it over to you, Wayne, as deputy chair for the
All right,
evening.
I'm looking for, I'm assuming everybody looked over the agenda, so I'm looking for someone to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I would like to make one addition under other, the Babe Ruth. Talk about Babe Ruth for a second. Otherwise, I have no other corrections or additions.
Accept the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve the agenda and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, the agenda is approved. Park board minutes from our last meeting. It seemed like it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I read through the minutes and I didn't see anything that I thought needed to be changed. Maybe somebody else did, but I didn't see that, so. If we could have a motion to accept or amend the minutes?
Accept.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes. Those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, motion passes.
I'm sorry, I was doing something. Whose motion seconded? Roger's motion? Okay,
I seconded.
Bruce was second.
Bruce second? Okay, thank you, appreciate that.
And now we're at the Star Rail presentation. So if you would kindly move to borrow one of the mics, please.
Barry, I don't believe I can do this.
That's fine.
I don't know what's going on, so
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
No problem. Do you mind if I disrobe here, at least
You're certainly
partially?
welcome to do that.
Thank you. My name is Barry Schreiber. I've been with the St. Cloud Area Rail Legacy Museum, also known as Star Rail, for 15 years, I suppose, something like that. And I represent the organization tonight. I'd like to thank you all for your investment and confidence in the project. It was just 10 years ago that we got the first rail car over there. When we started out, I was asked in this room, where are you going to find the cars? And this was 20 years or more after the shops had closed. And I had to say, quite honestly, we don't know. But the stars aligned, not just once, but 4 times. We found an express boxcar down at Minnesota Commercial, which we had refurbished. If you're interested, I can send you a link to a 5 or 6 minute video showing what Kimball Railcar Services did with a kind of rusty Hulk looking thing that became the Omaha Orange and Pullman Green express boxcar that you see over there on 3rd Street North today. It was those colors because those were the colors of the name trains, the Empire Builder, and the express boxcars. You know more about this than I do, Roger, but they were built with high-speed trucks to travel kind of like Federal Express freight on these cracked trains. So we had great luck in finding cars. The last piece that we needed was a locomotive, and we begged, whined, pleaded, cajoled, wheedled, groveled, whatever it took, to the folks at Xcel Energy, who had the exact type of diesel switch locomotive that worked here at the shops. It was called number 80 when it wore GN colors, and that's our next project, is to get that painted up in GN livery in the spring and early summer. So we felt, as I think a lot of people here feel, Roger certainly among them, that Waite Park without the railroad would be a fraction of what it is today. The railroad built Waite Park. In the book from Between Rocks and Rails, there was a statement that in the 1920s, 92% of Waite Park households had somebody working at the shops. And stories abound of the 3rd Street streetcar stopping at the corner where the red caboose is, and guys getting off in the morning. There's some wonderful pictures of those streetcars too. When it was way out in the sticks, Waite Park was commuting a distance to get to work back in the day. But we've been trying to collect information. In fact, probably 15, 18 years ago, I started doing a few digital video oral histories of people who worked at the shops. One of our founding board members was Al Ringsmith, whom you know, and another was a guy named Fran Wilmes, W-I-L-M-E-S, and Fran was a locomotive engineer, and he told the story, you've probably heard before. He said whenever the freight was pulling out of Waite Park to head out to Wilmer, he said the hogger would blow the whistle, and he said half the houses in Waite Park trembled because they were built out of old boxcar lumber, and they wanted to get in line behind the old steamer to perform their duties one more time. So that's a part of this place that's unique. The tens of thousands of boxcars were built in the shops. It provided employment for generations of people in the area. And I don't know what the numbers would be, but because the railroad was here, the employment, not just of people at the shops, but the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the insurance, all those kinds of people that were clustered around this constellation of people took place. And I don't know, St. Cloud area is something like 66,000 people today. My guess is without the railroad, It might be 25,000 or so, just, a nice number, but I don't know if that would have been enough critical mass to attract a state university or some of the larger businesses that exist today. Anyway, we feel strongly about the importance of the railroad. Anybody who is younger than 35 and does not have a relative working in the shops has no reason to know what went on here. We see people coming to visit, and I'll explain a little bit about what's happened at this place. And they say, really? Really? They built all the boxcars and all the cabooses for the whole Great Northern Railroad across the whole country right here in Wheat Park? Yeah, that's how it worked. But it's fun to share that legacy. And I'd like to give you kind of a progress report. I've got some photos to share, which I will. There's kind of a transcontinental gap here. I can.
I will just throw them up here.
Okay, got it. Great, good. Better yet. That was one of the. Thank you. One of the welcoming crews that came along in November, I think it was, of 2011. So we're just 10 years after the X240 arrived. Yeah, sure. And of course, it required some work. It's a wooden structure. It's been outdoors for a long time. We're rebuilding the roof over the platform. Yeah, next, please. And we put an EPDM rubber membrane roof on top because it's a wooden structure. It's sitting outside. We also, thank you. We also had to replace the siding and subflooring, and just recently we put cedar siding on this past year. You may have noticed over there. So we're pretty confident. Yeah, thank you. We're pretty confident that it's going to be weather tight for, as I'm fond of saying, in my 70s. I'm giving it a lifetime guarantee. Fortunately, I'm not 15 years old, but I don't think we have to worry about that. And we're having the joy of sharing what happened here. People are surprised. We've done some birthday parties in there. We've had meetings in there. We invite you, if you're ever interested, for an off-campus meeting on a slightly warmer day, to join us over there also. If you're interested, I'll send you a link. We've got this kind of nice 5 or 6 minute video showing what happened to the 2537, how we found that boxcar down at the Minnesota Commercial. It had been sitting on a siding. All these have stories attached to them, owned by a guy who was an over-the-road trucker who lived in Idaho and was not responsive to our inquiries about, this car. He was behind. He was contracted to pay a $1 a day rent for the boxcar being on a siding down at Minnesota Commercial. He had fallen in arrears for several years. He didn't know what to do with it. He didn't know really what it was. And John Goldman, who's the president of the Minnesota Commercial, finally said, either pay up or we're going to take over the ownership of that thing. He did not pay up. They took over ownership and they gave it to us. And then we took it to Kimball to get its makeover, sandblasted down to the bare metal. This is what is today the 27429 is what it was called when it was built here in 1941. It went away for 20 years, worked for the railroad. It was an external Z-braced wooden boxcar. Came back and got gussied up to have the fabulous standing Rocky logo, which is just fun. Call me out if you think this is wrong, but this, the Great Northern had this rather staid silhouette profile of the mountain goat, which is just darling in itself. But along comes Rocky the goat, inspired, I gotta say, by Bullwinkle and Rocky the Moose, Bullwinkle the Moose and Rocky the Flying Squirrel. We got Al Ringsmith out to the Kimball Car Place, along with Clarence Butkowski, who was himself a painter at the shops for 40 years. And Clarence blessed it, and he said, that was a good job. And we were pleased about that. So we wish to remember, the people as well as the hardware that got produced out there. Most recently, give you some deep history, and this might be on the quiz at the end of the evening, so if you want to take notes, you can. Kidding. This is the Star Rail locomotive as it looked in 1965 when it was Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy. This was the project. That's Xcel Energy. It's 209,000 pounds, and it was a project to organize the 13-axle truck and the Landwehr 160-ton crane, and the timing and everything that was necessary to get it here. It's getting loaded on the truck. It was a happy day when it arrived, and we now have installed underground power access to each of the 4 vehicles, which allows our future plans. We recently got the electric hooked up in the cab, headlights and number boards, that sort of thing. And we know exactly what the GN number 80 looked like when it was in the shops here, and our intention is to paint it up the way that it looks here in the next few months. So I will cut myself short and say thank you. We solicit your input. I guess I would be open to providing more frequent, once every 10 years is probably okay in certain respects. Things have gone rather smoothly, but I would welcome an invitation to, I can give you a printed update of what's going on in the last, every 6 months or so, just so you know what's happening over there. And you can provide some correction or direction as you wish. Our goal now is to get the locomotive painted up in its GN colors and numbers. And then the Glacier Green boxcar, and this is in the 2, 3 to 4 year future, is going to be converted into exhibit space. There will be photos, 3-dimensional stuff, videos, and we've got power there. We can, you put LED lighting in and electric heat for the winter months. There'll be no air conditioning, but that's our plan. We have had vandalism and theft. It's interesting stuff. It's out there. I'd like to ask your advice, as I have Bill also, about the possibility of getting security and safety fencing around those 4 vehicles. That's all there's going to be. There's going to be locomotive, 2 boxcars, and the caboose. That's all. And that is stabilized now. They're in position. They're coupled up. We know where they're going to be until the end of time. And we have had a couple marker lamps were stolen off of the caboose. We've had broken glass and entry into the locomotive cab. And, a fence does not preclude that from happening, but it greatly reduces the likelihood. And if someone is found climbing around at 2:30 in the morning and there's a fence around the perimeter of this, you've got a lot more questions to answer than if there is no fence. So that will probably reduce 90-95% of the vandalism and intrusion problems that we've had. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Have any questions for us? Are we doing what you thought might happen, those of you who were here 10 years ago? We have started Sunday afternoon open houses from 1 to 4. And that has come to a halt, during the last couple of months because of, extreme cold and the COVID stuff that's going around. But we intend to make that a regular time of opening, and we'll expand the opening hours as the need appears.
Thank you, Barry, for your knowledge and your presentation. You told me some things I didn't know about the 4 cars that are sitting there, well, the engine and the 3 cars.
There's just, it's been a real joy, Wayne, to come across, some of the stories, and people have been very helpful in sharing.
But you mentioned that people over 35 probably had relatives that worked at, I had relatives that worked at the car shops,
Yeah, exactly.
and that was a good job.
It was, and it was a backbone, an economic backbone of the community for generations, and lured the section head away from Melrose up to here, so there was a lot going on. But we think it's important for this town in the St. Cloud area to acknowledge that, yeah, this happened, and it happened for a long time, almost 100 years, 1890 to 1986. And it made an impact. It made a difference, made a big difference to the community.
It did. And again, Barry, thank you so much for the presentation.
You're
And
welcome.
If you ever have any information you want to send to us, that would be
Okay,
good for us to get.
And I may do that before 2032, if I'm correct.
Well, you're going to be past the 7-0 part then.
Barry, thank you for your work and your passion. It's greatly appreciated.
And Barry, I did forward that while you were speaking to all the park board members, so it should be in your inbox.
Oh, great.
So
Thank you.
It's already done.
Thank you so much.
So thanks for coming. We'll talk soon.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
Stay warm.
Next item on the agenda would be grants. And I see John is not here, so he won't be talking about
No, we
grants.
won't. Yeah.
Do you have any information, Bill?
No, he put out a feeler on one and didn't really fit for me. I think he's working with Dave Benchard, the police chief. There could be something there, so.
Okay. Next item would be the ledge.
And again, this is just brief updates. If you're not following it on the Facebook or signed up for the newsletter or the news releases, I'd encourage you to do that. It's easy to do, so just go to the Ledge website and do that. Excuse me. We got a couple shows that have announced already that I could tell you that May 28th is there in Lewis. That was just announced yesterday. And Goo Goo Dolls is in September. There's a whole bunch of other ones out there, but I can't tell you yet. Release that information yet. And Great Theater's coming back to do Grease out there this year, and those ticket sales are going through the roof. So it should be a good big year out there. So
Next item on the agenda, landscape coordinator.
all of a sudden got a tickle. This one I have not done anything with yet. I do know that there's a couple of people that are interested in it, and I just haven't been able to put all my energy into that at this moment. I hope to get that all cleared up by March 7th.
Sounds good.
I'll come back then with something more concrete, but.
Budget update.
So budget updates, I had put in again this year to do all the re-roofs at Community Park, the ball fields, the original quad building, and also some dugouts down there. It was pulled from the general fund, and the council said to come back with some numbers, and we'll look at doing it out of parkland funds, because we didn't have enough money in the general fund to take care of those big projects. So I'll be working on that here come this spring with some contractors and trying to get that moved forward. So I'll give you more updates here maybe by April or June for sure, we'll have some better ideas on that. Other than that, I didn't really have anything else to throw into the budget, just knowing what was going on with the budget. I have to work within the confines of just not the park is the only thing that they get to vote on and spend money on. There's other things and needs from other departments, so. So not much new there, but that's what I'd like to be doing.
All right, we'll move on to park updates.
And here, I've really got nothing. Obviously, this is the wintertime, so we don't have a whole lot out there at this moment. But I'll make a good pitch here for the future of Wade Park. So it's not specifically park related, but it does include parks. So the city hired a company to do a strategic plan for the city, so that the council, the residents, citizens, property owners, business owners have a say in what they want the city of Wade Park to look like. So it's basically getting a group of people together from all facets, age groups, ethnicity, whatever it is, business owner to a renter. And so we're going to be hitting this hard here probably in April. And I'm sitting on a committee that's what they call design committee to put a group of people together. So they try to get 8 to 10 design members who then solicit 8 to 10 citizens or individuals that would sit on this. It's going to probably go over 3 days. It's probably anywhere between 12 and 15 hours of meetings. And you work on a common goal of trying to figure out what's good in Wade Park, what didn't work so well, what do we want to envision our city to look like down the road, and then come up with a common theme of what that is, and that gives city staff to work with. And some of the items that are going to come out of there, parks will be a huge part of it, part of that vision of what we want to see. So it's not a complete park master plan like we've done in the past, but it'll also have some of those components. So I will be reaching out to some people, individuals that I think that would be good to sit on that 3-day event. If you know of some people that you think are good community involved and want to be involved in the community, again, we want age groups we're trying to get a group of high school students so that we can get a perspective from what they see. You know, the seniors, the renters, it's trying to bring in this really mixed bag of people and try to figure out all of us together, what do we want to do here? So, and if you know of anybody, feel free to drop me an email and say, I think this person might be good for it. If you're listening from home and you want to get involved, definitely you can look on the website and you can look my name up under the Public Works Director. Send me an email and say, that sounds like something I might want to do. So we're just looking for individuals now. It's exciting. It'll be a really good document when we get done. So other than that, the parks are just on hold. There's a lot of snow out there, so.
All right, other business?
So the last thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to step away from the mic for a second to put this up on the screen. So if you're familiar or not familiar, the Babe Ruth has a contract with the city to run their program out of River's Edge. And as you look at this drawing, they have 8 fields that they work with for their program, and that's baseball and girls softball. Also, the field up in the upper right corner north of the north parking lot there, that is also used by the VOTEC girls. It's not VOTEC anymore, excuse me. Community college, girls softball team. So the facility's used quite a bit down there. So it's not a contract, I call it, it's basically an agreement that the city has with Babe Ruth. It's usually about a 3-year agreement. It's up this year, so next week, me and the mayor will meet with their board and go through the agreement. And if there's anything that we want to do, change or whatever, we'll work with them on it. So during this, getting ready for this meeting, I've been talking with the president of it, and he's called me and asked me about the possibility of building another set of batting cages down there. So the current one is at the very top of your screen there. It's really hard to see. It's next to the box that says 3, the white box. I believe that's the number 3. Their first choices are down by the bathrooms in that open area between the pickleball courts, splash pad, and the what we call quick trip fields. And then their third choice would be, or second choice would be up by the skating warming house area. So we'll talk about this a little bit with the mayor and them next week, but I wanted to bring it to your attention and get some of your feedback. The park master plan here is done in its sense of what we were looking to do with this land. The only really available spot that we have held back on has been that area between the quick trip fields on the south there and the splash pad. There's quite a big open area there. If you remember, I don't know, Wayne, if you were on at the time, but John Bowden had an idea of doing some sort of what they call bank shot basketball. It's not a basketball court, but it's like an obstacle course for basketball. So it never went anywhere. I don't think it was because we were against the idea. I think we in the park board decided that, oh, that's good, Brad, thank you. That we just wanted to let that land, that open space kind of sit for a little bit and just not fill it in with something, take a little bit of time and thought into it. So what I'm here to kind of just gauge your interest or your thoughts on the area is, do you see a problem with us trying to put a set of batting cages in the area of 1A or 1B on your map? I know the big reason they want it there is because where they're located now, it's really difficult to get back there. So as you can see, you have to park in the north parking lot, and it's quite a trek to get back there. It's the perfect spot for it if you look at it in a park master plan, but it doesn't work for logistics, for them. So that's why they're bringing forward this proposal here. It's not going to take up a whole lot of space, but I think it just needs something to be planned out. I would like to retain the area like in 1B there, because I don't know what else is going to come up. The fitness court was never planned. And it's not that big of an area, and you can see it in the corner, but who knows what the next fitness court might be, and it might need that whole area. So I'm a little reluctant. The pickleball courts was planned, but those were supposed to have been basketball courts originally, full-size basketball courts. So that's why it's morphed into what it is here today. But so just your thoughts, if you've got a thought on this, I would love to know it. So it's just not Bill's idea here. So
It would seem to me that 1A would allow you to have more space to work with up on top. If you put it up in 1B, you're taking away from some of that space, and there's not a lot of things you're going to put in between the courts and the pickleball anyway. And it would seem to me that a batting cage there would be more appropriate than if you put it at 1B, because then you're taking up part of a bigger space.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
right, I'm getting where you're going. Yeah.
Okay. That would be my opinion. I like
a lot of space there for For a batting cage,
Right.
Certainly understand the need for a batting cage for young kids. It's a great tool for getting these kids into the game and teaching them how to bat properly and get enough swings in. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, eventually, that grass parking area will all be paved. So we're trying to figure that out here. I don't have an answer today on that, but I would love to see that all finished off there. The trails all the way. As you look at this, it goes all the way down to 13th Avenue and it weaves behind, back by the disc golf course and lit trails and all that. So that's our last final phase to do all that. I just can't tell you when it's gonna happen, but it does make sense. I know that they bring in, there's kids that are, or might not even be kids, I think they're even big guys that are playing maybe at the MAC or some VFW ball if they come into town. I know I've seen buses in that parking lot that you've got these teenagers that have come off the bus and they go over to the batting cage, you know, and so it does get used, and I do understand the logistics of the location of the current one, so.
So you have enough information then, Bill?
I think so. I think we're all in the same boat, the 1B area and to the north. I think we just want to hold on that at this point, just because we don't know what it is. But if we can, I don't mean to shoehorn it, that doesn't exactly what I mean here, but if we can put it down at 1A, I think that's probably the better location. I don't like 2. It's right next to the skating, the open skating rink. It's that little grass bowl in there. And also, I don't know if you got people coming and going, I don't know if you want them walking right by a batting cage. It's just maybe the aesthetics aren't the best, so. I will take your thoughts forward and know that 1A would be amenable to us, and then I can work out the final details of exactly where it fits, so trying to save as much property as we can.
we're talking 1B then?
1A.
1A? Okay. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Bill.
And then just an update, they did submit, so the facility is just, well, it's a little over 20 years old, 22 years old. So the original scoreboards on the quad up in the upper left corner are 20 plus years old. And they're outdated, they're old technology. The new technology on Quick Trip, it's run by your phone. These, you gotta go up in the crow's nest of the quad and run it with a switch and lever type of thing, basically. So Babe Ruth put a grant in request to the Burnix Foundation and received enough to do one scoreboard. Obviously, it'll be Pepsi Field. And possibly a second scoreboard to replace on the quad fields down there. That's a great thing because it's really a city facility. So for us to go out there and buy, for us to go buy a couple scoreboards or 4 scoreboards, you know, that's not cheap. And I don't have money budgeted for it. So that's a good thing that they went out and got that. So if you happen to see any Waite Park Babe Ruth board members, let them know thanks because it's helping them out and it's helping us out too, keeping our facility up.
What kind of money are they looking at per scoreboard, Bill, approximately?
If I was gonna guess about 20,000. I'm just guessing, but. So other than that, I do not have anything else. It's kind of that time of the year where there's not a lot going on, but give you a little bit of information of where we're at. It's a possibility of a new development out along 28th Avenue and 137, so might have some more information about that with Parkland, and we'll see where this goes, maybe for the April meeting, so.
Sounds good. Next meeting, April 6th, 2022 at 6:30 PM, unless it changes.
Try not to.
So it's just, our world is so topsy-turvy right now that you can make all kinds of plans that end up being just that, plans.
Exactly.
Anyway, we would need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I would move to adjourn the meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Those that approve, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.